All right. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is I'll name this segment later. Spit that grease, etc., etc., etc. Working on the title. In any case, I'd like to talk to you guys today. This is actually going to be a double header, to be honest with you, given how the scenario is going off. So, Super Bowl Sunday, I was doing what, like most people, watching football and whatnot, drinking and doing, doing and eating really good food. So that's pretty much how that came about. But this morning, I saw that DSP had played Street Fighter last night. So they decided to go into placement matches to be specific, and ends up getting to Diamond or 5-star Diamond, and goes on with my is it Shiranui, I believe, from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, and ends up getting demoted to 4-star Diamond before it's all said and done, which is on brand. And I was thinking to myself, well, Mai is going to be his new M. Bison, his new pay to win. So that's what we're going to speak on. But then something else happened. As I was going through Raw Phil's channel, big ups, and kind of just taking a look at some of the matches, kind of getting a feel for it, I saw that Ernesto, or Button Check, did a video going over something that DSP had said on February 6th of this year, 2025. And something about DSP was blaming content creators for messing up fighting games in the current day and age, by establishing the meta and allowing people to figure out how to play the top tier or the best tactics or whatever. So there'll be a video that will follow, literally that will follow this video. It'll be out tomorrow, or the day after this video, whenever this video goes out, where we'll go over the clip and we'll go over what Ernesto thinks, and we'll go from there. So that's the two things we'll be talking about. Mai becoming the new M. Bison, which means it's gonna end up crashing, burning in more than likely the same way. And then DSP being a fucking hypocrite with this whole going after content creators who are trying to divvy out information to help people in the FGC get better, which it basically just sounds like DSP's gatekeeping, which is probably what it is. All right, so with that being said, let's get into it. So first things first, DSP is only gonna mess around with Mai as long as he thinks people can't get around her Shuriken fans. The EX version in particular, the one where if on the first block, hit, or parry, it deflects upwards and then it comes down at like a steep angle. He thinks that right there is basically his bread and butter. It's not, because if you've seen a lot of my players, they don't really utilize the EX Shurikens the way he does. I think there's a reason for that, because there's an inherited flaw into it. But because DSP is a predator and he's preying upon people's lack of character knowledge, because it is a DLC character, so not everybody's gonna either be able to play it, and maybe you might not even have any exposure to it. I know that when she dropped, it must have been 2 or 3 days before I even ran into him. So that's the situation there. So that's what he's trying to prey upon. This is M. Bison all over again from season 1. Basically, Bison had very good tools, had a lot of priority, and it was difficult to kind of get around him, and it took a while for people to figure things out. Ironically enough, when that situation happened, what happened? DSP goes ahead onto the Bottom Bitch podcast, or the daily therapy session, and says, how is it that people are out here making videos saying, or teaching people how to defeat M. Bison? How are you going to do that? I paid for this character and they're out there messing it up for me. Gatekeeper status. With Mai, it's going to be the same thing. But truth be told, there's a video out there to help you with a matchup for any character in almost any game. This isn't something that just happened over the span of the last year. This has been happening. So the fact that he's complaining about it really just goes to show, and really it shows the amount of value, I should say, that he puts upon him winning. But the thing is no one cares except for assholes like me.
Oh no, Lord X Law says, so the main issue is that fighting games are too competitive now and it's hard to keep up? No, the problem is that today, due to factors that are very different from back in the day. Meaning, by spreading the competitive information about a fighting game to the masses right away, you get personal gain from it, right? You make money, you get views, get notoriety, right? Then all of a sudden you can immediately adopt that. You get noticed. Oh, maybe I get signed for a team. Maybe I get a sponsorship. Maybe I can make big money on my streams. Because of all that, there is literally no time of discovery anymore in any fighting game. The moment a new character is released or a new DLC patch comes out, everyone knows everything within a day. And that era of discovery, that time frame when a new fighting game was released or an update to a fighting game was released, used to be one of the most fun, enjoyable times because everyone was on the same equal footing, messing around, trying to learn everything, and you would have fun new gameplay mechanics, people experimenting with new things, people trying to see how things fit, and it would last a while. Today, it's literally 5 minutes. In some cases, it's no time at all because they have access to new content, certain people, before it's even released. So they're already making videos about a new character and a new gameplay mechanic before it's even in the real game, and it's already been spoiled for everyone before anyone can even play it. It just, in my opinion, when they decided that everything should be instant gratification, instead of earning it by playing and learning yourself, it's now, hey, the moment something is out, everyone knows about it because it's already online. Every plot is spoiled. Every Easter egg is found. Every nuance of the meta of anything competitive is already exposed within 24 hours. When that happens, there is no fun factor to a game anymore. You've already exposed everything. Like, how do you even have a good time? Oh, it's a feeling of a new game. No, it feels old within a day because everyone already knows everything, right? When a new character comes out, you should be able to have fun with them at least for a little bit before it's so serious that, oh, I took one hit because I made a mistake. Oh, I lost the entire game. What the fuck just happened? It's brand new. How the fuck does everyone know this right from the get-go? Within 24 hours of Bison being out, already everyone knew you can't do a scissor kick because someone could just punish it with standing light kick into a free combo. How the fuck did you know that? How does every player know that? Because some fucking dunce made a video, how to beat Bison, and they spoiled it. So no one discovers it naturally. Everyone just knows it within 24 hours, and now you've basically ruined the entire discovery period for the character. And that takes the fun factor out of the game. That's my point. It's not that everyone's trying to play harder. Hey, that's naturally going to happen when now there's a reward. There's now a carrot at the end of the stick. It used to be you just do it for fun and bragging rights. Now, if you get competitive in a fighting game, you have a chance to get signed, to make money in a setting, playing tournaments and traveling with a team. You could get sponsorships. You can make money on a stream. So I get it. Like, there's now a goal at the end that you could profit from being good. But the fact that because that's happened, now fighting games are no fun to be played, you ruined it. Like, what's the fucking point? Unless you plan on becoming a pro player in a fighting game, what exactly is the incentive to be playing Street Fighter 6 right now? Like I said, I've had people the last couple of months come into the chat saying, man, I like watching your Street Fighter 6, so I tried to play it. I just get bodied endlessly. I can't even win a single round. Everyone just dominates me with insane combos and strategies, and I have no chance to even win a single game. Yeah, that's lame. That's sad, actually. It didn't used to be like that. You actually had a chance to kind of fuck around in the games earlier and have fun, even if you weren't so serious. Now it's like every fucking player is a super aspiring to be, you know, the next top player kind of deal, and it sucks the fun out of the fucking game. See, I completely disagree. Epsilon Knight says the games themselves have the tools to improve, though. Back in the day, some people would have exclusive tech they didn't share, and they bodied everyone with it, and that's not fun. No, actually, that's the opposite. It was super fun. Because here's what would happen. You'd be the best person in your community. But then you would leave your community to go to a tournament. And the tournament was a get-together of all different people from the region, maybe even people flying across the country. Shit, maybe even people flying in from another country to perform at a tournament. And that's when you were exposed to all of this tech. It wasn't just, I go to the tournament to compete. It's you're going to the tournament to learn. This is your opportunity to educate yourself on the game and to see new strategies and figure stuff out, because for the first time you get exposed to this melting pot of gameplay that you couldn't find because there was no online to spew it all out on within 24 hours. So the tournament was a super fun event because it was where you would actually get to see the best of the best duke it out, show their skill, and no one had any clue who was going to win. At any waking moment, you could have a nobody walk in from the streets and have some strategy you've never seen and dominate the top players. That was incredibly fun. That doesn't exist anymore at all because everyone knows the tech right away. And that has ruined that feeling of chance and discovery and kind of like almost like, you know, you never know what's going to happen. That's fun. That fun's gone. Where is it? Everyone knows everything. Everyone has the same combos, the same patterns, the same gameplay, the same fucking flowchart, right? Oh, within 24 hours, no one ever scissor kick again with Bison because you can punish it immediately. Why the fuck do we know that within 24 hours? That's stupid as shit. So anyway, that's just some of the few things, you know, that I have to say. But, you know, a lot of people will likely disagree with me, but that's a different perspective. Most of these people who play fighting games today, they only started playing in this modern era. They probably, the first game they played was Street Fighter 4 or 5, right? And for me, it's like, dude, I've been playing since Street Fighter 2. Actually, I played Street Fighter 1, all right? Of course, it wasn't competitive. So for me, it feels so different, you know? What it really is, it's that old school Smash Mouth feeling. To get good, you have to go to the arcade, you have to put your quarters in, you have to take your beatings, but it's through that time-tested combat and metal that you get better. It's not, oh, I sit in the lab, I sit in the lab, I sit in the lab, la 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 la. Oh, now I've memorized the same pattern that everyone else knows. Now I apply that online. And then you go online, oh, I got lucky. Now I'm in my pattern, now I win the round. And then the moment, oh, I couldn't apply the pattern, I lose instantly because I don't know how to play fighting games. That's modern fighting games. Half the people I lose to are terrible at fighting games, but they've labbed enough that they've learned that pattern that you can't really get out of unless you get lucky because it's a guessing game. Well, anyway, anyone having streaming issues? No. So I really have no anti-air. And Bison has no, his level 1 super basically passes right through them when they're jumping at you, right? His low fierce punch isn't fast enough to counter when they're at that certain distance. His level 2 super is pretty useless. It's not good for anti-air, so he has no anti-air, effectively. Yeah, Bison basically has no anti-air, which is why people can just neutral jump on him all day. He has to get lucky and mash low fierce and hope it comes out fast enough. The EX Psycho Crusher is not fast enough, and regular Psycho Crusher also is slow. Like, you can only get it to work against certain things. If someone's doing, like, Blanca Ball, well, Psycho Crusher has invincibility on Wake Up, but it's very slow. But since it's invincible, the ball will kind of hover in front of it, and you can still hit him. Same thing with a counter against the headbutt, but against a regular jump-in, it's actually worthless. So, the weakness of Bison is this. Just stay on him, keep jumping. Seriously, just keep fucking jumping on him, and he can't really do anything. That's what I'm seeing. He has no true reversal and no true anti-air. So because of that, yes, when he gets stuff going, he'll dominate. But outside of that, it's very rare. Like, just stay on him and jump a lot, and neutral jump a ton, right? Because that's what everyone is doing now. They all watch the same videos. Oh, neutral jump a million times. You can't scissor. You can't Psycho Crusher, you can't do anything, and most of his normals don't recover fast enough, so they could punish your normal. Just a standing kick gets stuffed by the neutral jump. So yeah, I actually think that a lot of people now kind of have his number. It's sad, but I think that a lot of people all watch the same how to beat Bison videos, and now they all know the basics to beat him easily.
The overall FGC doesn't give a shit about DSP and how he's performing Street Fighter 6. Truth be told, he's hiding in casuals anyway, which he's only doing that to try to pad his record. You know what I'm saying? Like he Luca or some shit. So there's that. So that don't mean anything. And by the time he get the rank, he's gonna end up getting cleaned up more often than not. And then he's gonna sit there and blame everything from rollback netcode to other people cheating or lag switching. It doesn't mean really anything. as it pertains to mine in particular, does she have good tools? Yes, she has good pokes. She has some really great normals that cancel into other stuff really easily. As far as I've seen, he's not utilizing any of those things. His whole, I'd say like 70% of his offense is based off that EX Shuriken. Here's the problem. There's a couple of different ways to deal with that EX. With that EX Shuriken. First things first, if you're doing the fierce version of it, which is what he's liable to do more often than not, she throws out 3 of them. The first one you block and it dissipates. If you block the other 2, or if you parry the other 2, or if you end up taking the hit, they will bounce off of you and then come back at a steep angle, as I said earlier. That's where DSP sees his opening to try to dash in, go low, and try to use the fan as a makeshift high-low mix-up. Here's the problem. It's lazy. It's a really lazy approach, just like how he used to play in Bison. It's a really lazy, minimum effort, maximum profit type situation. There are some ways of getting out of that, especially once he dashes forward. Once he dashes forward, you can take the first hit from the EX Shuriken, then go ahead and block the second 2, or parry the second 2, wait for him to dash in, and then drive rush him. You can throw him. You can probably dash counter that as well, now that I think about it. You have options. There are ways of getting out of that. You know what I mean? Your best bet is probably throw. Or I would say throw, because if you're not confident in parrying high-low, then I would say go for the throw the moment he comes in. Just throw him. Because he's gonna dash in and he's gonna try to go low. Just throw him immediately. You could probably get the throw off before the second and third Shuriken even come down at you. Just throw his ass and be done with it. But I have seen a few people actually parry all of it, plus whatever attempt that he was going for a high-low, and they were able to, dissipate all that. There are options. Here's the point. Through natural progression of gameplay and player experience, character experience, people will figure him out. Once that happens, he's really screwed, kind of like with Bison, because he's not sitting there and capitalizing off of his hits. She has pretty easy stuff you can hit confirm off of. He's not taking advantage of it. He's not utilizing it properly. He is incredibly over reliant on her level 1, and I get it. It's a really easy super to combo into, even though he could be doing her double sidekicks, that same double sidekick move that he says he doesn't want, but it keeps coming out. And he should be going off he should literally off that second hit immediately go ahead and cancel on the level 1. He's not doing that. He is using the level 1 as an anti-air, but he's telegraphing it. If someone empty jumps in on him, they could easily bait that out. He's going to end up burning that meter and being vulnerable. Hence the reason why he doesn't like doing her Killer B dash super, because it's easy for him to mess that up. I think that's a level 2. He's a bit over reliant on that level 3 as well, but he's able to hit that more often than not, similar to how realistic, actually, now that I think about it, he uses my level 3 almost in the exact same way that he uses Blanca's level 3, now that I think about it. That's an interesting realization. But yeah, he uses that in almost the exact same way, in almost the exact same setup. Which leads to the other problem is DSP never plays the character, or never tries to be unique with his characters. He plays them all the exact same way. Anywho, the Mai situation is not going to last long. He's going to, like I said, once people figure out what his approach is, he's going to get thrown, he's going to get dash countered, or they'll just parry all of it out, and then he catches an uppercut, or he catches a dash rush after the fact. End of story. So there you go on that. So I don't expect that to go too long, and once that happens, I don't see him playing too much of it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens once he gets to master rank. And as I've already done the video on this, there are 3 additional levels to master rank. We'll see how far he can go with it. Like I said, he made it to diamond, or 5-star diamond yesterday, before getting demoted and bitching and complaining about internet issues, or sorry, rollback, when in actuality he was having internet issues. Because if you look at Raw Phil's playback, you could see like where the internet buffering and everything was at. And I think Raw Phil actually at one point, don't hold me to this, I think he went ahead and got off YouTube and went over to DSP's Kick channel instead. But then again, excuse me, Justin Hunt, or the company man, I follow him on Twitter and on YouTube, he only like an hour or two ago put a tweet out saying was anybody having a problem with YouTube because he wasn't able to get on or use it. So we'll see. But he's definitely had. But then again, he had a match. DSP had a match last night where that shit was completely laggy as hell, and I'm pretty confident it was on his side. It was from him, not the other guy. I can't remember if it was a my mirror match or if it was was it a Guile match. I'm not sure. Speaking of which, I'm really liking how Guile kind of shuts down a lot of my stuff. To be honest with you, there was like one or two Guiles he played last night. I think one guy lost, but I think the other guy won, and did some pretty good work. I gotta say, I think Guile might make a pretty good foil for DSP, not necessarily for my as a character, but for DSP. But we'll wait and see how that goes down. Also, DSP has PTSD. I'm sure most of you guys know this, as it pertains to Cammy. That Cammy last night whooped his ass, and he literally didn't even really fight back. He just took it. He knew he couldn't win. So, big ups to Raw Phil, big ups to Pops or Piece of Peas, big ups to all of you Cammy players out there. You ain't sat there and mentally stunted that guy. He had no fight whatsoever in him when that Cammy player came up. He just already accepted that he was going to lose. That is sad. That is sad that this guy wants to run around here talking about competitive Street Fighter, and he sits there and quits the way he does. Or there was another person he played last night who played him in one match and left. And DSP was basically calling him a bitch and shit, talking about how he's just running and he's basically running and gunning on him, and then picking up and leaving. But DSP does that, especially when he goes up against a Cammy player where he's lucky enough to scrape a match off of them. He doesn't go ahead and go for the 2 out of 3. He just immediately runs the moment he gets it. Or if he's in let me stop, because then I'm just gonna get petty, which I am petty, but I'm just gonna get petty with it. So we'll see how it pans out. We'll see how the situation is, and I'd like to hear what DSP's Bitch Fest is going to be on the Bottom Bitch podcast later on today, where he talks about his experience with his ranked matches with my Shiranui. Now, here's part 2. So the second part of it comes down to Button Check, or Ernesto. He has a video. He does, his usual button check show, but the last part of it, I'll link it down in the description. It's the last part of the show. He talks about something that DSP had said that had been making its rounds, and where DSP is blaming FGC content creators for screwing up or spoiling the game and making it less fun for people to play by putting out the tech, by them grinding out the game, discovering all the tech, and making the tech available for everybody is screwing up the game for people like him. Give me a second and we'll get into this further. No matter how you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, as it pertains to DSP's side or his thoughts on content creators and streamers messing up the game for other people, it's gatekeeping and it's scrub mentality. Period. He has the same opportunities, theoretically, to play just as often as those guys do, and he doesn't. He has the same opportunities to try to discover tech and put it out there for public consumption. He's not smart enough, he's not creative enough to. Truth be told, if DSP discovers some type of tech that he's never seen before, and went on Twitter with a clip of it, and no one had ever seen it, trust me, he'd have made a video and exploited the shit out of it. Just like everybody else, because if you're not first, you're last in the story. DSP is one of these people who cries and complains about picking up a game that's already been out and gets mad that everybody else are just absolute beasts at it, and he's like, what the fuck? I just picked it up. I didn't have the opportunities and chances that they did. Matter of fact, that's an excuse that he's literally used verbatim recently. Well, he's used it over the years, but he's definitely been using it as of late. It's dumb. It's dumb for the sake of being dumb, to be honest. You're not good enough to compete. You realize that your time with Mai is going to be short, just like your time with Bison. You realize that any advantage that you had on people is going to fucking evaporate, like literally in the next second. By the weekend, he's going to have problems if he's not going through those problems already. That's what it comes down to. You can't sit there and blame people who do this for a job or a profession to sit there and grind out, figure out what the best tech is, and then put it out there. Back in DSP's day, they used to hoard tech. They used to hoard the hell out of it. Now, they gave an advantage for the people who knew about it and discovered it when they go out of town and face other people, but then those other people have their own, you know, tech as well. So either which way, it was because of the lack of information sharing or the ability to share information back in his day. He's like, this new age is screwing everything up. It's not. It's called progression. This is how the world works. You know what I'm saying? He's on Twitter all day. He's literally on Twitter all day. It's not like he stalks, not even follows. He stalks people from the FGC on a regular basis. He stalks the hell out of them. He knows what kind of tech is going on and whatnot. He won't go into any of those discords because they'll clown him. But he at least sees the shit on Twitter. He sees the clips. He sees all that. Or you can go to Reddit. You can go to Street Fighter 6 Reddit. You can go to Street Fighter Reddit. You can go to R Kappa. There's another Kappa that you might want to Kapparino. You might want to be careful going in there. You're going to find some weird stuff in there. There are places you can go to get these resources. He's in the same boat as everybody else. He's as smart as he says he is. If he's as talented of a player as he says he is, those resources are available to him. It really is. The whole concept of discovery or whatever happens within the first 10 to 12 hours. First 48, if you will. After that, it becomes basically part of the ecosystem. Then it's up to you as a player to build off of that, to build upwards. DSP doesn't want that. He needs the character to build him up instead of him building the character up. DSP is not about contributing to the FGC. The FGC has to contribute to him. That's what it is. That's why it just sounds like lame ass bitching. It sounds like scrub mentality. It sounds like gatekeeping, because that's what it is. When he buys the game, he needs the game to work double, triple, quadruple the amount of effort that he's going to have to put into it. Let me reword that. He expects everything to work 3 times or 4 times as harder than what he has to put into it. And that's why he fails at everything. That's why he's a joke. That's why even the people in the FGC, I'm looking at people's tweets and shit. Because the video, I don't know if the video was made by SnortBucks or Memology. It could have been someone else. You know, my bad. I'm just assuming that it's a SnortBucks video, or it's like a Memology video, or a Snort Hogan video. But whoever it is that made the video, it's making its rounds and shit. But it's no different than any other video that's Street Fighter related that makes its rounds. And you're gonna have the majority of people being like, who's this bum? Or he's just some washed up loser and shit. He swears that he's so damn good, but he gets beaten very easily. Or you're gonna hear, well, clock is right twice a day. You know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. But he's not right on this. This is how our world works. If you pick up, for example, I'm not really a fan of Black Ops 6 multiplayer. I mess with the zombies though, but not really the multiplayer. So I play a lot of Modern Warfare 3. If someone picks up Modern Warfare 3 today, DLC, because that's what it should be called, Modern Warfare 3 DLC. If someone picks it up today, you're not going to have access to the weapons that I have, that anybody else that's been playing it day 1. You know what I mean? Or season 1, whatever, you know what I mean? So you're going to have to grind for those things. Are you going to sit there and cry about it, or are you going to sit there and put in that work in the story? And as it pertains to the concept of meta, I'll go ahead and use Street Fighter, or I'll use Call of Duty as an example yet again. Dude, I never bought into the concept of meta builds. Are there some really good builds out there? You find on Reddit all the time. You know what I'm saying? Or on the Call of Duty forums and shit. Yeah, or on Call of Duty Twitter. Yeah, there's some great builds out there, but it's not the hype that everybody says it is. I've tried at least 4 builds that Z later made over his time in Modern Warfare 3. They were trash. I don't give a shit. They were trash. They were. You know what I'm saying? He had the right idea, but then he added something on that didn't mean shit. I've tried some of Swag's fucking shit. They're trash. Some of his, not all of his builds, but some of his builds are trash. Or some of his kits. They're garbage. They're absolutely fucking garbage. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But the thing is their builds or kits or loadouts are made for fucking kids that already watch them. To sit there and pick up and think they're going to sit there and drop 50 or 60 and shit in Warzone. Then when they don't, it automatically instills in them, oh, well, it's Swag, or, oh, it's Z Lane, or it's whoever. Just I'm throwing some names out there. Of course, they're going to drop it. I'm just not good enough. And then they go back to them and continue watching, and then people are like, oh, well, he had this operator. Maybe I should buy this bundle. Oh, maybe I should try, you know, this blueprint and whatnot in the COD store. And that's how the cycle works. Why do you think Call of Duty puts so much money into those guys doing all that bullshit? As it pertains to Street Fighter, it's one, like Ernesto said, does it have the individuality that like Street Fighter 4 did? Yes and no. Because we live in a day and age where people want to win. People want to win. So if you see Momochi or Daigo or Knuckle Dew or fucking Punk or fucking Smug or anybody that you fuck with, you know what I'm saying, like Chris G, whoever, if you see these guys do well with a particular character playing a particular way, you're going to emulate it. But you're going to eventually have to build up and off of it, because at that point everybody's watching the throne and there is no church in the wild. So you can't copy everything forever. There can only be one king. So eventually you're going to have to find your way. All that bullshit was just the delusional fucking rants of some fucking loser asshole who wants to be accepted in the FGC and wants to be recognized so goddamn bad that he believes that if he can bash the shit, if he can try to piss people off, like he's trying to run a promo or some shit, that maybe he can get a big name to acknowledge him and maybe they can get into a match. And then what's going to happen? DSP's going to lose. DSP's going to be like, hey man, good game. You know, that's why you're considered one of the world's best. And he'll use that loss and he'll try to seem like he's humbling himself to get back into the FGC and get back into people's graces. That's literally what the whole con is. That's why he keeps calling the FGC out. He knows that there's a lot of corporate money behind that shit. Dudes aren't trying to mess things up for themselves. Once you get on a team, once you get sponsorships and endorsements, once you get a manager or an agent, you're not trying to screw that up over some dumb internet drama, over some fucking 40-year-old who can't get shit together. That's why you got assholes like me to do that stuff. So they're not going to sit there and mess that up. But more importantly than that, as I said, gatekeeping, you could say, or you could make the argument, well, maybe they're trying to gatekeep DSP out of that shit. But here's the truth though, ladies and gentlemen, keeping it straight up 100. DSP gatekeeped himself out of it. He was the one who gatekeeped himself out of any of those opportunities. He was never good enough to be a player, so don't even come at me with that bullshit. I mean, if you want to put it down in the comment section, you're welcome to do it. I'm not going to ban you or nothing. But don't come at me with that. Don't at me on that one. He wasn't good enough as a player. He was shit at commentary. He's not good as an announcer. Just because he talked real good and he could try to emulate the part well, doesn't mean that it'll go over well. He's tainted his own reputation, his own quote-unquote legacy, and he's gonna keep fighting it no matter what. Him bitching and complaining about that shit takes me back to last year. I'm pretty sure it was last year, or it was 2023, when that guy showed those cabinets off on Twitter, the Super Turbo. It wasn't Super Turbo. I want to say it was like Alpha. It might have been. It might have been Super Turbo and Alpha, I think, or maybe it was CVS. To be honest with you, he was showing off those cabinets in his own little in his room and whatever. And DSP decided to take his ass over there and comment on it. First off, that guy didn't at DSP on that shit, so how did DSP know about it? DSP stalks everybody in the FGC that's somebody. He saw one of them like that tweet, or they retweeted it, and he decided to go ahead and stick his goddamn nose into it. And because he came across bitter, because he came across as just some old man who was like, oh, I could have had that, but I didn't see the need to. Okay, then what are you doing commenting on this? Say, hey, nice setup, and then move the fuck on. Instead, DSP wanted to be a bitch about it. The dude clapped back. DSP tried to go back at him again. Then all of a sudden, DSP shut the fuck up because everybody was starting to clap. He fucked around and he found out. Should have minded his business. DSP had a chance to own a Super Turbo cabinet. What'd he do? He sat there and he fucking took advantage of John and Howard and used they shit. Oh, well, he didn't have the room for it. He didn't have this and that. If he didn't have all that clutter in his first apartment, he could, or a condo or whatever, he could have had it. He could have had a cabinet now. Shit, Max has 3, maybe 4 actually. But he had that at his old place before they moved into the new one. But he had, what does Max have? I think he has a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet. He has a CVS 2 cabinet. I can't think of what that third one is. Is it, I can't think of what that third cabinet is. I want to tell you it could have been a third strike cabinet, but it might not. It might be one of those like one of those all-in-one cabinets and whatnot that's starting to become really, really popular. It could be one of those. I can't remember what that third cabinet is, but he's certainly playing on it before. The point being is that Max was able to make room for it. If you love something, you'll figure out a way. DSP don't love fighting games. He doesn't love Street Fighter 6. He doesn't even love Street Fighter. It doesn't give him nothing. It's a hollow victory no matter what. And every loss, there's an excuse behind this shit. Don't worry, I'm gonna go over the Ernesto video, or the button check video, sorry. I'll link it down in the description of this one. But I'm gonna go over it. You'll see that in the next one, and we'll break this shit down. You know what I'm saying? We'll break it down. Because if DSP want to go ahead and verbally bust his ass down like that and shit, then I'm more than happy to cut the bacon off his back. So I'm just gonna do my public service, if you will, as a bacon enthusiast and whatnot, connoisseur, if you will. I'm not sure if there's a word for a bacon savant. I'm sure there is, but the point being is I'm gonna go ahead and do my part and whatnot, and then we'll figure out what's what. But it's just the ramblings of a pathetic old man, and this isn't ageism, to be honest with you. It's just he's just a pathetic dude who wouldn't get with the times. To be honest, he's stuck in his ways because it was good back then, even though he was trash back then. He was trash back then. If he was willing to see where we're at, when we're at, he could learn. He'd still be garbage, but he could learn. He could be included into the conversation. Instead, the internet's just gonna look at it as just the ramblings of a fucking old man who don't want to change, who don't want to learn, who's a massive fucking e-beggar, who takes shots at people in the FGC who have never done anything to him. You know, but then, ironically enough, he ain't taking no shots at fucking Mike Watson or the Dojo Arcade. He ain't taking no shots at Jaha, which I don't blame him. You shouldn't be taking no shots at that anyway. So, give me a second. All right, my fault. He just won't get with the times. This is how the world works. The world doesn't revolve around Phil Brunel, DSP, Darkside Phil, Dark Geppetto. It's literally the other way around. And if he wants to live in his little hug box and he wants to go ahead and try to poach a few people who might agree with him, fine. But those new people won't watch his content because it won't be long for them to watch a stream or two and see how trash he is. They're definitely not going to give you money. And just out of spite, they may just go back and be like, yeah, he may have made a point, but fuck that guy. End of story. It's still an L for Darkside Phil. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, does he have the right to go ahead and run his mouth? Sure, go ahead. The truth is, no one's ever going to care. He's never going to change the narrative. It is what it is. And he needs to accept that. He truly needs to accept it. And truth be told, anybody from his class, essentially, are just going to look at it as scrub behavior anyway. That's all it is. It's just scrub, fucking, basically gatekeeper type behavior. Which is wild when you think about it in hindsight. Because, and I hate to say this, he's a content creator. He's a streamer. You know? So you're gonna bash people who are in your lane, bruh? And you really think that's gonna ingratiate them or any of your ideas or backward ass thinking by doing that? Whatever. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. Like I said, the video that going over the button check segment, it's about 10 minutes long. It'll be at the end of the video, or the end of Ernesto's video. I'll link it down in the description. Check that out. Tomorrow, that video should be out with my reaction to it, and you know, and then we'll see what DSP has to say on the Bottom Bitch podcast after the fact. Because if it is making some buzz in the FGC, and it is, there is some responses to it and whatnot, especially now that Ernesto is about to signal boost it. There's going to be people that are going to have something to say about it, which means, yet again, DSP is going to hear about it. He always acts like he don't care about the FGC, he ain't paying attention to nothing that's going on, but ironically enough, he always seems to know what's going on. So we'll see what he has to say about it, and that'll be that might be the third video in this trilogy of DSP, yet again, trying to get the attention of the FGC in the most pathetic and pitiful sort of way possible. In any case, this is, I'll name that segment later. That's GTG Spits That Grease. Thank you guys very much for listening in. I'll catch you guys on the flip, man. Take care of yourselves, people. Later.